What's going on, all you gamers? Here we are back with some more Diablo 2 Resurrected, and today I'm going to be going over what I believe are probably the most powerful runewords that you can get for those chest pieces of armour. So if you want to chuck something in that slot to make yourself truly powerful, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back, all you guys and girls. As always, for all things gaming, for all things Xbox, then why not hit that subscribe and bell icon. I'll bring you all the latest and greatest in content, hints, tips, guides and builds, and just some fun gameplay and reviews of the upcoming games. But for today I'm here to give you my top choices for some of the most powerful chess pieces that you can create with runewords. So if you want to get geared up, if you want to become truly powerful for that endgame, then these may well help you out, as some of them are highly sought after. I'm going to be giving you my top picks and placing them in the order that I think they should go, obviously one being the most powerful. Now remember, these are just my choices. If you have anything you think I've missed out, or you've got a preference yourself, chuck it in the comments, as I'd love to hear from you so that I can see if there's anything that I've missed off. So kicking it off with the first one, and this one is probably going to get me in trouble straight off the bat as it's a bit of a niche one, but I wanted to chuck a little bit of love over to the poison builds, and this one is Bramble. Comprising of a Rao, an a SUR and an F rune, this definitely isn't the cheapest to make. SUR is quite up there on the list of runes, and this is a bit, like I said, a bit of a niche rune word. So Bramble gives you 15 to 21 Thorns Aura when equipped, so quite nice if you're getting hit with that melee damage. You're going to be dishing some back to them, plus 50% faster hit recovery, which is really good on some builds. I believe probably Necro would benefit from that quite a bit, plus 25 to 50% to poison skill damage, which is the main reason I'm chucking it on the list. There's not that much that gives you this much extra poison damage, and this is quite a unique rune word to make. So if you can get it to that top end, this can work out a really nice rune word to use. Plus 300 defense, increases maximum mana by 5%, regenerates mana 15%, which is absolutely amazing. It means you're going to be getting a lot of regen in your build, and plus 5% to maximum cold resist. You also get fire resist 30% and a massive buff to your poison resist at 100%. Plus 13 life after each kill, and level 13 Spirit of Barbs. In all honesty, the Spirit of Barbs isn't amazing, but it is a nice little added feature, again dishing back a little bit of damage if you're taking that damage yourself. The reason I'm putting this as number 6 is because it doesn't have any plus skills, which is a bit of a pain. If it did have, this would be a really nice and a great one to use. Also, it is a little bit costly with that and SUR rune, and like I said, it doesn't work in every build. You're going to have to be playing poison, so a poison necro, a rabies druid, or a poison assassin, and you're kind of going to have to work around this to make that build work. But all in all, a very unique rune word that can really make some powerful poison builds late game, and you can have a lot of fun with this. Next up, and for our number 5 spot, we're going to be going with Treachery. Now this is a good one for multiple reasons. One, it's quite easy to make. It comprises of a Shao, a Foal, and the highest would be a Lem rune. It gives you 5% chance to cast level 15 Fade when struck, 25% chance to cast level 15 Venom on striking, plus 2 to assassin skills, so as you can see it's a great one for chucking on your assassin, 45% increased attack speed, plus 20% faster hit recovery, cold resist of 30%, and 50% extra gold from monsters. All in all, it doesn't have the most bonuses on it, but what it does have is really nice. This can work great on the assassin, but even better, this can be a really nice rune word if you're chucking it over to your mercenary. So that's why Treachery definitely has to make it on this list, because it's a really nice one to make if you haven't got those crazy high-end runes and you want to chuck it on either your assassin or your mercenary. Next up, coming in at number 4, and we have Duress. This comprises of a Shao rune, an rune, and a Foal rune. So all in all, not the hardest to get hold of compared to some of the later ones we're going to be going over. But this one gives you a lot of bonuses and is great for any of those close quarter combat builds. It gives you 40% faster hit recovery, plus 10 to 20% enhanced damage, adds 37 to 133 cold damage, 15% on your crushing blow, 33% open wounds, plus 150 to 200% enhanced defense, minus 20% slower stamina drain, cold resist plus 45%, lightning resist plus 15, fire resist plus 15, and poison resist plus 15%. So as you can see, it checks a lot of the boxes. It doesn't have that plus to skills, which a lot of people are after at endgame, but it gives you almost everything else, and some of the things it gives you are really amazing for those really close range builds. For example, the Barb, the Pally, and probably even the Fury Druid as well. And if you haven't managed to get your hands on some of the highest level runes, this one's a little bit more obtainable. A really great piece of armour that's really tanky, does a lot of damage, and is just great on a lot of those melee builds. Now coming into our top 3 slots, and we're kicking it off with number 3, and that's Fortitude, comprising of an L, a Soul, a Dull, and a Low rune. So the Low rune is a little bit on the tougher side to get hold of, as it is a top end one, but this is definitely worth it for a few reasons. One, it brings a lot to the table. It really does have a lot of extra benefits. If you're trying a bit of survivability, this is definitely the one for you. It gives you 20% chance to cast level 15 chilling armor when struck, meaning if you're hit from those long range attacks, you're pretty much going to bop back a little ice bolt of your own. That's not the main reason you've got it, but it is a nice little effect and does a little bit of extra damage to enemies. Plus 25% faster cast rate, plus 300% enhanced damage, plus 200% enhanced defense, so it gives you a nice chunk of damage and gives you a great bit of defense if you're managing to put on a really high defensive piece of armor, such as an Archon plate or anything you can find with nice defense. It also gives you a nice chunk of life, between 8 to 12 to your life based on your character level. All resistances plus 25 to 30, 12% damage taken goes to mana, and plus 1 to your light radius. Because it's an armor piece, it also gives you plus 15 defense, replenishes your life plus 7, which is absolutely amazing, and plus 5% to maximum lightning resist. Your damage is reduced by 7 as well. All in all, this is a great rune word to use, but the main reason I'm chucking it on our list is because it's my top rune word to use on your mercenaries. If you want to keep them alive, this gives you a nice chunk of damage, a nice chunk of defense, and also some great elemental resists. Very possibly the best in slot you can chuck on your mercenary if you want them to survive in hell and all of those late game activities. Next up, we're coming into the big boy territory, and for our number 2 slot, I've chucked on Chains of Honour. This right here is just an absolute beast. It really is. Whatever it's got on it, you want on it. It is a great piece of gear, and if you can manage to acquire the actual runes needed for it, this can definitely make the difference between your build for those later stages of the game. Comprising of a Dull, an a Burr, and an Ist. The Burr is obviously a very high end rune, meaning this is a bit of a costly piece of gear, but once you've got it on, you'll definitely notice the difference because it ticks all the right boxes. It gives you plus 2 to all skills, which is just amazing, plus 200% damage to demons, plus 100% damage to undead, 8% life stolen per hit, so as you can see, this is absolutely amazing for those close range builds, the melee classes and such, plus 70% enhanced defense, plus 20 to your strength, replenished life plus 7, all resistances, and this is the big one, plus 65, which is just absolutely huge. I think that may well be the best one in the game. If I'm wrong, chuck it in the comments, but that is an absolutely massive bonus and can mean you can muck around with your build a little bit more because you've got that leeway. It also gives you damage reduced by 8%, and as a little added bonus, 25% better chance of getting magic items. All in all, this is definitely one of my top picks, and it probably would be number 1 slot if it wasn't for this next one, which is just probably one of the most overpowered crazy things you can get hold of, and that would be this one right here for our top spot, coming in at numero 1, Enigma. Now if you've played Diablo for a while, you will almost 100% already know that it was going to be top slot because it just does everything. It is so good, consisting of a Jar rune, an If rune, and a Burr rune. It's only 3 runes, but the runes there are, you better make sure that you're farming for a while or you've got a way to get hold of them, because a Jar and a Burr rune are very up there and truly hard to get hold of. However, if you do, it may well be that you'll want to spend them on this, because Enigma is definitely one of the best pieces of gear in the game. Again, it gives plus 2 to all skills, and at late game, plus to skills is probably the best thing you can get on any piece of gear you can find, plus 45% faster run and walk speed, which may not sound like anything great, but honestly, you're going to be using this constantly, and if you're using it to farm, which, let's face it, if you're at endgame, that's pretty much all you will be doing, That plus 45% faster run and walk speed just makes the difference to how fast your runs will be and how fast you'll be able to collect loot. Now the biggie coming up, and the reason a lot of people love this piece, is because it gives you +1 to teleport, meaning that you're able to teleport when you want with this piece of armour on. That right there is just so sought after and means that you don't have to be a salt in order to do that crazy fast farming when you're trying to get around. It also gives you plus 750 to 775 defense, can really make the build a lot tankier than it would have normally been, and plus 0.75 per character level to strength, meaning at endgame you can have a big chunk to your strength if you wanted to swap some out and chuck it into your vitality. It also increases your maximum life by 5% and damage reduced by 8%, plus 14 life after each kill and 15% damage taken goes to mana. It also gives you a better chance of getting magical items based on your character level, 1 per character level, meaning if you've managed to get to level 90 for example, you're going to get better chance of getting magic items 90%, which is just an absolutely amazing bonus for something that's just so good to wear and ticks all of the other boxes. In fact, the only thing that this doesn't have, which you're going to have to put in some other slots, is the elemental resists. If it had that, it would pretty much have every single thing you wanted, but even without that, it's probably still one of the most used and sought after items in the game if you can make it, because the runeword is really that powerful on a lot of classes. I'd say it probably works a bit better on the caster classes, but in general if you did want to make it for any class you probably could get away with it, because this would work in pretty much nigh on any build. Right, you gamers, hopefully I've not taken too much of your time and gave you something to think about. If you didn't know what some of the best words were, these are definitely ones to look out for and ones you'll want to hold on to your runes for in order to make for that late game. As always guys and girls, there'll be a lot more content on the way. For all things gaming, for all things Xbox, take care, I'll see you on the next day.